post it all later. Okay. So I'll be
Okay.
like, hello, sorry, due to technical difficulties, it's not coming at you live today, but we do have the pleasure of speaking to Lisa Brumm. She's the CEO and founder of My Financial Girlfriend, and we're going to talk money, which is a real big deal right about now. So hi, Lisa, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do, and we'll get right into it.
Great. Hi, I am Lisa Brumm, and I'm CEO of My Financial Girlfriend. We are a full-service financial planning organization, entity firm. We do investments, insurance. Basically, I see myself and the team as holistic, comprehensive planners, and we really help people just dive into their money in all ways that most advisors just only hang out in the investment, retirement, insurance world. But we'll help people open up their mail if they haven't, or if they're afraid to, and we'll help go through their budgets. We'll help make sure that they're balanced checkbooks. And I mean, we really get into the weeds with people because I feel we're just as much the financial experts in helping people really understand their money and how it can work better for them. But we're also the girlfriend. So we have a lot of heart, compassion. There's never shaming. We want everyone to feel empowered about their money.
Awesome. That sounds like a real good setup for our audience. So we're going to talk mainly about money stuff today, as far as how to find more of it, maybe.
Yes.
And then we'll go over, you can take the lead on that, and then we'll do some questions that were crowdsourced after
Great.
that.
Yeah. Well, right now, especially the fact that we have people out of work or on furlough, laid off, unemployment isn't coming as fast as, the bills are coming in. And that really, it breaks my heart to know that we've just got ourselves into we didn't get ourselves this way, sorry. We're just in this situation that was really kind of thrown at us. And so there's a lot of curveballs in that. And so I've been doing, and our team has really been marketing around the things that you can control, right? You feel so much overwhelmed and out of control of your situation right now. We're staying home to be responsible and make sure that nobody else gets it. And then we can really just help mitigate and hopefully shorten the time frame that we all have to stay at home. But other things that you can control, we're posting more things about money hacks and ways that you can control maybe some of the expenditures. Just by virtue of being home and not going to the movies and not driving to the beach and, all the things that we would normally do on our leisure time, obviously those have been mitigated. But, when it comes to the fixed budget items and your reoccurring bills that always show up, we're now over a month, at least for myself, a month at home. And I know the bills don't stop showing up, right? So there's a lot of things that we're talking about as far as maybe calling your utility company. Something that you can do is perhaps even ask for an equal pay so that they'll look back at your last 12 months of your average dollar amount that you've spent. Some months might be higher, some months might be lower because of seasons, but if you go in and ask them to flatten and do an equal pay, it might then always be $78 a month. And then you know what the bill is. You don't have to guess and go, oh gosh, I don't know if I'm going to have $150 or I'm not, we're coming into the summer months. So maybe you have AC. Maybe you're, instead of not turning on your AC, maybe you just ask to have the bill flattened, and that would keep everybody, tempers and frustration levels down, as long as we have some of the comforts of our home, right?
For sure.
Sure. So we also are talking about things like anything that's financed, or if you have a mortgage. I know that a lot of local banks and credit unions are doing awesome by having you either skip a payment, or maybe they can rearrange the bill or extend the bill. I heard that on a call the other day as somebody asked for not only 90 days on their mortgage, but what they ended up doing is reconfigure it so that it's actually just 3 more months on the back end of when their mortgage is going to be paid off. So, the least that any one of these companies, they only have so much leeway, but to ask for it, actually don't be afraid to call your credit card companies and ask for 0 interest rate. If they're offering that to brand new people, have them offer that to you. It may matter. I've had a gal recently who has asked for the 0 interest rate. She actually had to ask for a new credit card. They closed one account, then to balance transfer so they could get the 0 interest rate for a year. But anything that you can do to just take control, you are asking, but you are also in a point of leverage. You have the power to ask for this because they'd rather work with you than to charge you off or to wait 90 days and then turn you over into a collection agency. So a lot of the companies can already see that wave coming, and they'll do what they can to help mitigate their impact on the financial side of that company or the credit card finance company. So get on it. Just start opening up your bills and start just methodically going maybe just do one a week and make yourself feel better, or a couple of a week, and just really, feel like you're taking control and getting the grace and the ability to hopefully mitigate some of those expenses.
That makes sense. And are there any other simple, relatively speaking, tricks to lowering the amount of money going out? I mean, utilities and like mortgages and stuff are pretty solidly something you will have to pay. What about like clothes, food, other expenses that have a little bit different variety in how much they might cost?
Yeah. So, I am a big thrift shop, but we're not really buying clothes. I mean, I know the essential services are the only ones that are being offered. But if somebody needs a pair of shorts for the summer because the kids are outside more in the backyard, I would go to, someplace like online shopping. I know that there's my daughter, when she was in high school, was always talking about Wish. And she ended up buying a bathing suit, and she ended up buying some things that are kind of staples for the coming into the summer. So, and it wasn't very expensive, and definitely ways that, women have the tendency to find the deals with the deals with the deals. In fact, I don't know if I'm spilling the beans on this or not, but we were just talking beforehand, and we were using the free Zoom because we have an office and conference rooms. It was only occasionally that we needed to use Zoom, and we were limited to 40 minutes. But now that we've upgraded to the pro version, I went in and right before I hit submit, anytime I ever see a promo or coupon bar or place right before you hit go and buy it, and you have your credit card information already in, if there's a coupon or a discount code area, I then go into another browser and I just Google discount for Zoom, and I ended up not paying $149 for the year. I ended up paying like $112. It gave me like a 20% discount because I looked up a discount code. So it's things like that I think intuitively we know that as women to find, and men too, but I'm like a deal hunter. I want the deal with the deal and an extra 10%, right? And so I think things like that, anything that that you have to buy to get shipped or sent to the house, also, even local stores and local grocery stores I know are doing delivery for groceries, and the food delivery services and stuff like that. Just, you gotta pinch your pennies. This is the time to pinch pennies. The other thing I will say on a tax code is that, and it's not the ideal situation, so if you do this, just know that there's financial assistance in our company and our financial professionals, but IRS is allowing people to borrow or actually withdrawal without any penalty, early withdrawal from your 401ks or retirement plans up to $100,000. So what it means is you're not paying a 10% penalty. You do still have to pay the taxes on it, but it does give maybe some folks that have, maybe they're laid off from big companies and they have that 401k, borrow what you think you need for the next couple months. Just even when you get back to work, you're going to have to, wait a paycheck cycle at least to get that money coming in. So just be really diligent about what you pull out. But if you're before your age 59 and a half, if you're pulling that money out, then they're going to waive the 10% penalty. And I've already had a couple clients call and ask to do that. And we talked really deeply about how much do you really need. If we were going to sit here again for another 4 months, then go 4.5 months or go 5 months until you know that when that next paycheck will physically get into your bank account.
That's a great point. I had not known about that. So
Yeah.
Is that, just to clarify, is that a loan and you don't pay the fee and you have to get it back by a certain amount of time, or is it just you pay the taxes and that's it?
Right. You would just pay the taxes and you would be withdrawing for the 10% waiver.
Okay.
If you have the type of 401k or you have the type of retirement plan, if you're self-employed, that allows you to borrow from it, and there's only really one way to do it. It's under the 401k code. But you could actually take traditional IRA or previous, SEP IRA, for instance, and you could roll it into a 401k solo plan if you have any income that's self-employed, and then you borrow from yourself and you make repayments back to yourself, and it takes you can get up to 5 years to pay it back if it was just to pay off some debt or to get food on the table. And so that is a non-taxable event as long as you're paying yourself back. You don't get the early penalty. You don't get taxed on any of the monies that you borrow out. But if you're doing the other thing, which comes under the CARE Act currently, is the IRS is waiving the 10% penalty for early withdrawals before age 59 and a half. And that is a straight out withdrawal, and that's money that will be taxed. So most companies, if you pull out as a withdrawal, they'll ask you, do you want to pay, 10 or 15% to Fed? 10% if you're a state of Oregon or an income state, you're in a state that has income tax,
Sure.
You want to have them pay that forward, and then you get the net difference.
Gotcha. That's good to know.
Yeah.
That's why we're talking, right? Find out all the things.
Yes.
I will jump in with one question, just because it kind of aligns with that real quick, and that's,
Okay.
should I look at my 401k right now? Because a lot of us have ties to the stock market, and that's not doing so great right now.
No, the stock market is definitely in a very volatile, very tumultuous situation. It actually started at the end, like the first real down tip word was happening late February. Since then, in 6 weeks now, the stock market has actually stopped trading midday 4 times.
Yeah.
And so couple things, hopefully it gives you a little sense of hope, is that since 2008, I can tell you everything went down. The stock market went down. The bond market, real estate, anything that had growth or appreciation was now in a either flat or negative downward spiral. The only thing that gave me a little bit of hope, and I am very optimistic, very Pollyanna, but when we started seeing the stock market take its first dive at the end of February, I was looking at accounts of mine that have are holding bonds in those, and those were actually starting to upward tick, which is what is normal in the situation.
Okay.
If stock market goes down, the bond should be worth more.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't happen in 2008. So since it just happened and we had just sort of started getting out of the 2008 downward tick, I was kind of happy going, oh my gosh, this doesn't look like it did in 2008. It maybe have some hope that we're going to be back into somewhat of a, I'll say normal, because, right? Because
Yeah.
when you have a balanced portfolio and you're not 100% in the stock market, you actually can ride out some of these with less volatility because you're not seeing the bonds are kind of giving you a little bit more support. So
Awesome.
That's kind of the portfolios that we help our clients build.
Cool. That sounds great. So that sort of feeds into the next questions, which is, should I bother trying to save long-term in general right now?
No, don't bother, because it's opportunity lost. If you don't put, like, and now some people aren't working, so money's not obviously not going
Totally.
in
Totally.
through their paychecks, but I've actually never been more busy. Me and my team, we actually are fielding a lot of calls, because when the stock market goes down, those that have some cash, I wouldn't say put it all in the stock market. I mean, that's like putting it all your chips in
Totally.
on the table, right?
Yeah.
But you need to have reserves. You need to be making sure that if this lasts, no matter how, if we last another month like this, and before unemployment can kick in, and I know the stimulus money is hopefully starting to arrive for folks, but don't put that into the stock market. It is a place to put, so you're buying on sale, but if it means for your long-term goal like retirement, and you can spare 25 bucks, then go ahead and send it in. But you're going to be buying more shares, which is the big plus, because the more shares in your account in the long run will start being worth more per share. And that's ultimately what we end up retiring on, is not necessarily the dollar amount, it's how many shares are in that account. And if you can keep growing that in even a small degree, it definitely is worth it in the long run. But right now it's kind of save our squirrel, be the squirrels saving your nuts, because we just can't predict. We have no indication right now that we're going to be out of this in any short time. So we really need to make sure we have that cash on hand.
Okay, well, I am going to move a little bit away from retirement, even though I definitely still have more questions. That's like a personal thing, though. So
yes, okay.
So the next question I have from somebody is, if I'm picking and choosing which monthly debts to pay, so mortgage, credit cards, student loans that aren't federal, etc., what is the order of importance to allot limited money towards?
Okay, so this is a very complicated question, so hopefully I can give you a very simple answer. We have, I can actually even share it with you, Katie, later if you want to put it in a link somewhere. But I use a calculator. It's an online calculator, and it's actually called Rapid Debt Reduction Calculator. And it's very cartoony. It's got a cute little calculator on the side, and he has legs and arms, kind of like the School of Rock guy for the bill, but it's been around for 15, 20 years, because I've used it for clients when they have credit card debt or student loans or car loans. If they want to just throw all their debt in there, the only thing that you want to do is you want to go by the highest interest rate first in this calculator. Because now if you have 2 credit cards, for instance, with the same exact interest rate against you, then you want to go the higher balance. So highest interest rate takes precedence. Then you go with the highest balance and you put it into this calculator, and it has 3 things that it's helping you calculate: how to pay it off faster, even if you're just doing minimum payments. And it's remarkable. It blows your mind. So I also would recommend for folks just to pay their minimum payments. If we're stuck in this for 2 or 3 months, 2 or 3 months is not going to benefit you more in the long run than it would have, if you're throwing $100 extra towards your credit cards, keep the $100. Just satisfy the payment, get the minimum in on or before your due date, and just do that. At least will hopefully keep some of that money in your pocket. So those are kind of the rules: is highest interest rate first. Then if you have 2 with similar, then go with the highest balance, and then hit calculate. And it actually spits out a report to tells you exactly which account to pay every month going forward until all of them are paid off. And it should look something like a slope board down. Like the first card is paid off in April of 2021, and then the next card is June of 2021. So it should look like it's going like a downward step.
That's great. I will definitely link that up.
Yes, I'll send that. Or they can call us and we'll help them do it too. And there's no charge. There's no fee or any charge for us to help. That's the premise, that I believe all Americans deserve the right to work with a financial professional that will help them step by step on their time frame and as they need it.
That's wonderful. And I'll definitely mention that as well.
Thanks.
So that sounds like a good approach if you're just getting started with trying to manage your finances. Like let's say we and our partner are just like, we need to get this under control. And is this the good starting point? Is there another tool that we should use to like get it all down? What should we do if we're just coming at it from the beginning?
Yeah, from the beginning. So I'll say debt is usually our number one thing when we're talking to folks, because I know that in the long run, if we can help them get a plan around their debt and they feel really rock solid about it, and they know that they're going to be paid off at an actual date without adding new debt, I also want them to be building savings simultaneously. So to me, it's like a yin and a yang. So for instance, if you are throwing that extra $100 towards your credit card, the calculator, you could put in extra payment of $50 and it will tell you how many less months that you have to pay that off if you're going to still want to pay extra, and you can. But then that same time frame, I just did one for a couple last night. It went from like 27 months down to 22 months. Now 5 months may not seem like a lot, but that extra 50 is now in a savings account growing for those 22 months. And that's over a couple, no, thousand, I have 600, 1,200 and some dollars, right? Almost $1,200. So I think it's a better mental state of mind to see your debt going down while your savings balances are going up. That's the trick, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, that definitely will make a lot of us feel better, if nothing
Right.
else, even though it is doing the right thing too.
Yeah. So debt and savings are hand in hand. Even the stimulus check, there was a couple, and it was the same couple from last night, and they said, hey, we have this credit card where they had 3 credit cards with each had balances. They asked me, which one should we throw our stimulus check onto? Now they both are, one's working from home and one is actually out in the essential businesses. So he is actually working. But I go, well, let's play with that. Let's see what happens. If I would say throw the 2,400 on the one with the highest interest rate. So we did that. And then I had them either not paying any extra, or then we went back to paying their extra that they felt comfortable with. Mm-hmm. And it only saved them like 3 months. So I'm like, well, you're going to throw $2,400 out to debt, and it only takes 3 months off the end of your payment plan. Why don't you just keep the $2,400? Because we don't know what's going to happen. Sure. I can't predict. I mean, we never know. Like to me, it's like, I never have a crystal ball, but it's even a little more unsettling because there's nothing that gives us any predictability at all. Right. But I just say, well, wouldn't it be better? Now I showed them, like, if you put 2,400 into a savings and maybe half of what you're doing towards that, so that if you need to, or if you want to take a week off because things are kind of going crazy, mm-hmm. wouldn't it be better to have that money in your savings and still know that you're going to be paid off your debt, even if you just do it this way? It's still both. And it's not forgiving, and you're just giving money to credit card company because you want to get that paid off faster. And I don't think 3 months is enough to really give up a $2,400 check.
That's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good point. So that sort of, and I know we've covered this somewhat a little bit already, but are there any other ways, or maybe we can reiterate the ways to strategically use credit right now if we need to?
Yeah. I mean, if you're still in good standing with your credit card company, also when you're making that request for an interest rate reduction or 0 interest rate, ask them to, maybe help skip a month or 2, or ask for a higher balance, and you can do a balance transfer if you have a couple of credit cards that you want to consolidate down to one. It's better to have one payment or less payments if you're going to have a payment, because those do get amortized over longer periods of time. So it give you a little bit of cash flow help, but also a little ability to kind of know that you're at least, again, taking control of something that you can do, or at least ask for it, right?
Sure.
So that, I guess, not having the physical, connections with people and all the distancing that we're having to do. I know that some neighborhoods are, on the neighborhood newsletter thing that you can get on your phone. I'll leave a can of, tuna out on the front step if somebody will give me some toilet paper or whatever. So, the trading, the sharing, the borrowing kind of stuff, you just have to kind of be very creative.
Sure. And I think I'll make this my last question because I don't want to take up too much of everyone's time.
Okay.
But it's a bit of a two-parter. One's more generic, one's more specific. So
Okay.
as far as getting in contact with companies or whatever that we might owe money to, whether it be a mortgage or student loan or utility.
Mm-hmm.
So if we are wanting to like make our money spread as far as possible, let's say we're down to one income or no income right now, or waiting on
Mm-hmm.
unemployment or something, are
Mm-hmm.
most of these places receptible to either deferred or forgiven payments at this point?
I haven't heard much about forgiving payments altogether, but I have heard where they will suspend. I mean, my husband and I have been in a credit union, and they offered to do a skip month if we have, he has a truck loan. And so we got an email, and it was kind of, one to all of their credit union members, and they wanted to know who needed a month payment skip on their different types of loans they have. So, but I would think that, here's the thing is that the worst they could say is no. The worst that could happen is you don't pay it and then you're late and then you have a fee. I want to be real with people. You don't really want to go there and ruin your credit. But on the other side, if you're not getting the funds that you thought you were getting through unemployment, or if you can't tap into other resources, I know that there's ways to make money on the internet. I know that, there's things that people are doing. Like my brother he's a writer. He likes to write, and he's working, but he's told me about plenty of sites that you can go in and get little article, write up a little article for something, or help somebody write their blog or do some writing on their website content. So, that was just one angle I had. I think about other things that you can do by yourself and earn
Totally.
money, but the internet is kind of powerful that way.
Yeah. There's all sorts of
Yeah,
little jobs out there. I can attest to writing online. That's what
right.
I do too.
Yeah, so I just think that you could get to be creative, and hopefully, I think it's a reset too for everyone. I know I was really overscheduled. I know that the first thing I felt, even after the first week, was a little sense of relief that, oh my gosh, now everybody's on, like, it was a big stop button, right? And almost virtually everyone went into stop mode, so that all the people that are on the front lines can really help and hopefully curtail this virus. So, but I think there's going to be a lot more forgiveness. I think you're going to get a lot more compassion and sympathy when you make those phone calls to ask for the reduction or lower amounts. Um, that's all I can think about that.
Sure.
I didn't know if I answered your question. The other question going back, though, was about budgeting.
Mhm.
This might be a great time just to write down what all your bills are in one spot, so you
Sure.
can see what is the amounts, when are the dates, and really just kind of, again, step by step, go through the idea of, okay, I'm going to call them 3 days before the due date and see if I can get a response. So,
Cool. So the last part of that is specific to car leases. I had a friend ask, she said that the car lease management place is calling them a lot, and she's wondering if she is in a place for leverage and getting a pretty sweet deal right now, or
yeah. In fact, so much so that now I don't watch a lot of TV. In fact, I'm usually working during the day, but I can tell you that the TV, when I'm not, on a phone call or something, the TV is on, and I'm not trying to watch news, but what's happening is a lot of advertising.
Mhm.
And I just saw that Mercedes-Benz is allowing you to buy with zero down, a zero interest rate. Now, I don't know that it's probably on a brand new Mercedes, but I don't know. I mean, if you're, and you can buy online, you can pick your colors. I mean, they were making this whole advertisement, and just had me mesmerized, going more about the social impact of that.
Sure.
Because now, the other thing I heard is real estate is still, I mean, it's
Yeah,
plateaued a little bit,
that's what
but
I
real
heard
estate
too.
is still happening. Like you can actually arrange that your realtor would let you in. She stays in the driveway. You get to walk through, or virtual. She'll go and take a video of it and virtually let you walk in. People, like this one realtor told me a couple of days ago that she has 3 houses in escrow right now ready to purchase. And so I'm like, it just, the power of people, right? We're
Totally.
still going to do the things that we want to do. So I just sit there, I'm really amazed. But I think right now we can probably get the best car deals, the best car leases. They need to move into in cars. They need to move that inventory. They don't want to have it sitting around for any, I mean, that's one of their measurables, is how long has that car sat here on this lot? How much can we reduce it down? So there is a buyer's market for sure out there, and you're really in a driver's seat to do that. Ha ha ha. Pun intended.
Love it. I love that. So is there anything else that you think we should include in this conversation right now? I mean, I know we could probably talk a lot about some other things, and
Yeah,
maybe
we
we'll
can
do that
really talk.
sometime when I get the live up and running again. But
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I just think that, take a deep breath. And money is a tool. And even though sometimes we feel completely, anxious and overwhelmed by things, it, you're really, I mean, think about all the money you're saving, right? That's what I think of. Like, I can't even imagine that. Oh, and some of the tools too, you were asked about tools, things like mint.com or You Need a Budget, YNAB. There are apps that you can put on your phone to help you remind you that you're getting close to the budget limit, or help you assign $1 in every bucket. And even if the bucket's saving. So, have fun, be curious, play a little bit, know that, we will get through it and it's going to be okay, but it's just going to be one of those things that we probably won't ever forget. This is the stories we
right,
tell our grandkids that we lived and survived through, right?
totally. Well, Lisa, how can somebody get in contact with you and your business if they would
Yeah.
like more information?
So my email is probably the best, lisa@myfinancialgirlfriend.com. It's all spelled out. I have wonderful people that work with me. LaDonna, LaDonna, LaDonna at myfinancialgirlfriend.com. Christine is also here in Portland, and Christine is CHRISTINE at myfinancialgirlfriend.com. And then Anya is our operations manager, and she is operations with an S at myfinancialgirlfriend.com. So that's the emails. Our phones, we're not in our offices, but our phones are being forwarded, and that office line is 971-232-5831. They can also find us on Facebook or on LinkedIn. The website's in the process of being worked on, because that's one of our little things that we're going to do right now. But yeah, they can find us. They can Google us. We're licensed in 13, I guess just added Maryland. So I have 14 states that we're licensed in. Even if they call us from a state we're not licensed in, we can get licensed fairly quickly, and then be able to help them if it's on investments or insurance. But if they just need budgeting and just money, tools, and tricks, they can certainly give us a call.
Well, that's really great. And thank you so much for talking
Thank
to us
you. Thank you
today.
so much for letting
I
me.
think this is super, super valuable, and I appreciate it. And I know other people will as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right. We'll talk soon.